believe the reason parents abandon homeschooling after a short time is that they were using the wrong tool, or tools that they didn't know how to use. We commonly hear, my personality was in conflict with my child's personality, and so homeschooling didn't work for us. Well, I tend to think that it was less a conflict with the personality as it was just the mismatched tool. It's like the handyman using the wrong size wrench and he ends up stripping the bolt, and this is what's happening with your student. So before we head out to the homeschool job site, let's take a few minutes and just examine what tools are available for us. A few categories to consider include your personal strengths, the vast amount of products and literature out there that's available to homeschoolers, your home with a physical space, your budget, and your support network. And you should also gain a good familiarity with what teaching methods are on the market. You already bring a tremendous amount of tools to your toolbox in the form of your own personal strengths. Do you hold a degree in special education, accounting, coding? What do you know? What are your professional, personal life experiences that you can bring to your children? Do you play an instrument? Do you draw? Can you identify a large number of plants and birds? Do you simply have a keen interest in something such as graphic design or anything? The world is vast and wide, and you bring your interests to your children. Your children will love what you love because you love it, and you can share your authority and your knowledge with your children in this way. Don't underestimate or devalue your own knowledge, thinking that you don't have what your children need simply because you think you're not a professional teacher. You have more to offer your children than you realize. Bring them alongside you. Teach them to cook. Teach them to paint. Teach them to do the things that you do and that you enjoy doing. Also think differently about your struggles. You know, the most challenging, unchangeable aspects of your life can be channeled to your child's greatest advantage. Take illness, for example. Is someone in your home ill? Do you think that you can't be a good teacher because there is this thing that is causing stress in the home? Well, channel that. Teach your children compassion. Teach your children patience. Teach your children biology and medicine. There are so many things that you can teach your children about the real world based on what you might think right now is not a tool, but it is a tool. It's all about how we gear and direct our circumstances. Finally, every parent has a wild card. You have a deep, unshakable love for your child that no outside educator possesses. You want your child to succeed at all costs. And you know your child. Very often you see attitudes and mentality, mindsets that you recognize in your child because they are your own. And you know how to deal with that. That's something that no professional educator has. And that's a tool that every parent possesses. When my mother began homeschooling, it was 1983. There were no community homeschool support networks to be found. Now, everywhere you look, there are things out there for homeschoolers. Every church, it seems, has a homeschool program. There are co-ops. There are groups, just neighbors who will get together. I have a neighbor up the street here who, when her daughter was younger and homeschooling, they had a bunch of little girls who all wanted to do science, but they didn't do science like the little boys, and so they got a girls' science club. And they did things in the way that girls like to do science. Probably a lot more pink involved in their chemistry. And these sort of support networks are great. All right, what else? Do you have relatives who can help you with the homeschooling? Do you have a mother who can actually come over and sit down with your child and teach them once, twice a week? Can you drop children off at a sister's house so that you can teach other children? These are all things that you can incorporate into the support network. How am I going to do my daily homeschool routine? Well, I'm going to need once a week to do chemistry with my older child, but I can't do that with the toddler underfoot. I have a sister. I can take the toddler over to my sister's house once a week, and I can come home and do chemistry with the older children. These are tools in your toolbox. Use them. Every park service and aquatic club and sports program now seems to have a homeschool day. We live here in Northern Virginia, real close to Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon always has a homeschool day where normally it's $24 a person to get into the site, something like that. On homeschool days, you get in for free. It's really crowded, but you get in for free because there are these homeschool days. The county offers some really cool activities throughout the summer, throughout the school year. They have archaeology teams, they have aviation classes, they have summer camps, they have all of these things. These are your support network, your social network. The clubs, the resources, the family, the church, all of these things, consider them and put them into your toolbox. It's impossible to itemize here all the tools that are available for a homeschooler. But once again, think of the hardware store. I guess the hardware store is on my mind right now because we're talking while our neighbor is doing major construction on the house. You might hear the thumping and the noise in the background. We took a fine day to film. When you think about the hardware store, you have aisles and aisles of tools. Some work, some don't. Some are designed for specific purposes to be used by craftsmen with special skills, and some are more generic. Well, you have the same thing available to you as a homeschooler. You don't have to be a product expert. If you think you have to be a product expert in order to homeschool, you will not succeed. It's overwhelming. So relax for a moment and just know that all you really need is to know the general layout of what is in the hardware store and where you can get the tools for your need when the need arises. You have homeschool conventions. Now, this is a wonderful way for you to go pick up products, flip through it, talk to the vendors, figure out if the product actually does what you think it's supposed to do. You have catalogs and online products. You have blogs and magazines and forums. All of these are wonderful places to have your questions answered and to learn about what parents are using. You can ask, has anybody used such and such a curriculum? And they can respond, yes, but it didn't work for my child because of whatever reason, or I absolutely loved it. You get reviews. You are talking to parents who have actually used the things that you're looking at. Another one of my personal favorites are your county recreation centers. You know, not only the county rec and the library, but also every music studio and martial arts and gymnasium and all these places are now starting to cater toward the homeschoolers because there are so many homeschoolers and they're available to take their classes in the middle of the day while most of the other children are still in school, so you can find good discount prices at these places that you didn't used to be able to. These resources didn't used to be there. But at the county, at the rec centers, you'll have the swimming lessons and the crafting days, and you can go to Home Depot and you have crafting days. All of these are wonderful tools in your toolbox. If you think that you need to have a great big collection of tools before you get started on the project, please just stop right there. Just stop. One tool as you need it.